Hello and welcome to Actual Play Band of Blades. We're all here tonight to get to find out what happens to the Legion when we arrive at Fort Callisto. It's going to be awesome. I'm Sean. I use he/him pronouns, and I'm going to be your quartermaster tonight, trying to engineer us, farm our way out of this war. How about you, Misha?
Hi, Misha B. She, her. I am your marshal for the night, and I return to find out that not only was there kissing when I wasn't there, and I'm very disappointed in you all. I'm very disappointed that you did the kissing without me.
All
It's
right.
fine. It's fine. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm John LaBeouf Little, and I am substituting in for two people for which there are no substitutes. So I am going to be, I guess, the Lord Keeper and Marshal-ish on this particular adventure. Or whatever. Yes, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's it for me. How about you, Strash?
Hey, I'm Strash. He, him. I'm going to be playing the GM. So special tonight, you get both me and John. We worked on this game.
Yeah, this is their game.
This game pretty hard. So yeah, hopefully we'll have fun tonight. So just a quick refresher since actually, John, you were here last week. Do you want to give us a recap?
Yeah, since you're the lore master.
Oh my goodness.
Your job, dude. You made this.
So
game.
What happened? We went into a forest, and then there were ninjas and dinosaurs, and it was pretty great. Ultimately, there was we had a mission where we were going to recruit a specialist into the Legion, who happened to be someone we had seen before, I believe, at
Barrack Mines.
Yeah, Indigo Raging Storm at the time.
Yes, and had moved on to Talgon Forest to meet up with his, in fact, father, who was Rowan, the priest that runs the shrine at Talgon Forest. There was a bit of friction between the two of them, but the old man needed to save some creatures of the forest, some megafauna that looked remarkably similar to what we would consider dinosaurs. In order to earn the loyalty of the specialist, we did the mission for his father. And there was lots of fun where probably the coolest thing was the old man saving us all on this maneuver roll.
Yeah.
Is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's good. That sounds good.
There's one detail I need to add, which was the moment when Indigo Raging Storm tied up the vines to like create the whole carriage, and the rookie from the Ember Wolves, Baronet Titus Larius, like corrected it. And not only corrected it, like, because I had gotten a partial success, so there was a consequence that it was not going to hold together very well. Not only fixed it, but also made it so that Rowan didn't notice, and that was when Indigo Raging Storm felt part of the Legion, and it was like he will ride or die for Titus Larius now.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was too stressed to win a lifelong friend right there.
Yeah.
Best use of 2 stress in a Blades game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add in there.
Cool. I wanted to add 2 other minor details. One of which is that we only had 2 missions, which happens very, very rarely, but it does happen. And the secondary mission involved the ghost owls going deep into the forest to retrieve a very rare flower from a cave. And in the process, there were some giant beasts and some escapades, but the Legion actually came away with a priestess of the Horned One, who is kind of a plant alchemist style thing. The quartermaster has them in their.
Her name is Singing Twilight.
Yep.
Yeah, and she is she is both an alchemist and a mercy. She can, or she's either an alchemist or a mercy, depending on what.
Correct.
You can't do both.
Sweet. So the one question that I actually don't have an answer to is, I remember that we did downtime scenes. I mean, like that I remember very clearly, but I forget if we finished all of our bookkeeping and such.
We did like we normally do,
Oh,
where
actually,
we
probably-
did the mission penalties and rewards,
Mhm.
but we haven't done back at camp, and we haven't done the camp, and we haven't done the campaign phase. I haven't done my quartermastery things yet.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's do that. 1 second. Let me open up this handy summary I have. All right. Back at camp scenes. John, you're up.
Yeah, I have a list of things that we can play through, and I'm gonna choose one from medium.
Also, before we do back at camp, though, we have to check. John, do you have enough names in the Book of the Dead?
Oh, right. Let us double check that. I don't believe we do, but I will double check. It's under the goalkeeper.
I think there are 18 people in the book, because
Yeah, actually, Fuchsia was a breaking point. If I'm counting this right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second story. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third story. 3, 4. Fourth story. That's what you're on.
Excellent.
It's the saddest day.
Wow, 18, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting close to number of dead surpassing number of living.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So I'm just looking up the tales real quick because I can do that. I have a physical copy. So here are our.
Yeah, we have 23 living soldiers and rookies, and 18 dead.
So what I'm hearing is nobody should die at this session, or else we might be in trouble.
Yeah. That is correct.
Awesome.
Always an issue. Yeah, cool, awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are on our fourth story, is that right?
Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell a tale of the Legion's unyielding will. Okay. We fought holy and unholy since our inception, even in the Gods' War, when Chosen took charms against Chosen. Which previous Chosen did the Legion fight beside? That's a really good question.
Does it have to be someone who's still a Chosen?
Oh,
Just saying, there's a lot of other Chosen that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That aren't Sora.
Yeah. So I feel like the really interesting one would be Blighter then, or at least currently Blighter.
The Crafter.
Thank you. Yes, the Crafter.
Yeah, it's the Crafter, the Builder, and the Maker.
Mm-hmm.
The three gods of civilization.
Right. So they fought beside the Crafter goddess, I guess. And against which supernatural threat do they fight? That's really interesting. I like the idea that there's so in Dar there are demons. I wonder if there have been demons before. And
shadows. There are only shadows.
Apologies, Dar shadows. And I wonder, so I feel like it was against a Dar shadow at that point. And the question is, how many survived and how did they rebuild the Legion? And I think it was the best part is it was about the same number of people that we were reduced to at that time as we are now.
Oh damn! So this isn't the smallest we've ever been.
Yeah, it's not quite the smallest. There was one time it was a little bit smaller.
So let me ask this: was that the time in history when the shadows first came to Dar? It was not during the breaking when the gap was created, but it was after. It was during the Gods' War that Dar was truly plunged into shadow.
Yeah, I think so. I think Dara's been messed up, but like there was a point at which like it got worse. So yeah, and then yeah, and then of course the fight. It must have been a really powerful. Like I can imagine like a really powerful shadow.
Or many.
Or possibly both. A really powerful shadow with a nearly an army of not undead but of shades.
We've heard stories before about the Legion. The Legion used to be much more homogenous, and when it got sort of decimated, that's when it reformed and had people from many different heritages afterwards. So the Legion is really shifted in its identity and its form and what it looks like. Was there any kind of major shift in what the Legion looked like before and after the sort of regrowth? Like when we got that small, what happened to us?
Right. This would have been like a lot longer ago, right?
I mean, God's War. So
yeah,
it's like 200 years.
200 years ago. So I don't feel like modern weapons were a thing at that point, and maybe they became a thing during this war.
So you were in full plate and heavy armor, and then after
Right.
this, you started becoming lighter.
Lighter armor. Perhaps even this is the very first rifle was invented at that point, as a way to deal with this demon.
Well, we do know that Crimson Shot came from the God's War, so that may have been fundamental. If you were allied with the god of alchemy, that is exactly where it could have come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So the Legion is responsible for the creation of the most feared weapon of the God's War.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the rifle was just a delivery device. It was like, if you set this thing off, it will kill everything around it. So you better find a way to set it off far away.
Right.
What if we make a thing that would propel it? Perhaps. And they're like, oh, well, that worked. Let's just keep doing that.
Right.
But not with this nuke that we just made, but with regular, just little balls of lead as well.
Right.
But like the first rifle was actually a Crimson Shot rifle, and these are just like crappy replicas of it that have mundane ammunition.
Right.
I could see that as some amazing clockwork.
I love the idea that there's like maybe the first rifle is somewhere in some Orite museum or.
Yes.
So when the Legion was broken, they needed to rebuild, and in order to make money, they sold the first rifle and filled their coffers. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's also very Legion.
Right. We made this thing. I mean, that's probably what killed the Shadow, right? Was the first Crimson Shot. It's probably the first use of it. And after seeing what it did, yeah, I could totally see them being like, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, right. We don't have any more Crimson Shot.
Right, exactly. It's effectively worthless, but we'll still sell it for plenty of coin.
Yeah.
Oh man, how many snipers want to get their hands on that thing?
Right.
Not many. Actually, your rifles now are probably better.
Oh, probably, but I mean,
this is a prototype, right?
But it's
Principle of the thing.
Yes, okay, that's true.
Right, it's a collector's.
Very. It is the first.
Right, the first of anything,
Everybody wants to know if they could have done a better job with that rifle than whoever it was who fired the shot.
Nice. So John, what effect are you going to choose?
How many favored does our chosen currently have?
Well,
she actually just ticked over, so she's empty. But giving her one is not going to hurt because she'll earn another one from the mission today.
Oh, I see. That makes it plausible to get a third advance. The other options are giving +1d to all resistance rolls on the next mission, which probably isn't bad. And then making +2d to resolve resists as another option.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. We're facing the Blighter. She is all sorts of unholy. I think Never Give Up would generally be more useful, just because who knows what we do. But
I think it's the long term versus the short term in this moment. If this were perhaps Breaker, it would be a slightly different position. But I think against Blighter, we can justify just doing the Never Give Up or potentially doing the Chosen is moved.
Yeah, we have 2 more locations. We have basically Fort Clisco is going to have presumably another mission after this. Josh,
Yes, that is correct. There
Right,
is
we're
the
gonna have-
outside and then the inside.
So we're going to have at least this mission, which would give us a glory, would be at 2. And then there's going to be Fort Clisco, and there's going to be High Road, and there's going to be Skydagger. So maybe we could get a 3rd. I don't know.
So the question is, I guess, is someone, when we get into Clisco, I know it's a little metagaming, but like when we get in, will someone spend intel to get a special mission?
I don't know. Will they, Commander?
I mean, you're the commander.
Oh, Misha playing the game.
Oh, snap. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna take your Chosen is moved. The Chosen's gonna gain 1 favor. We're gonna make this happen. It's gonna happen tonight.
Nice. I'm for it. Shrush, what move did you pick for our Chosen? We just
Let me read from the book here. Sorry.
yeah, why don't you just pull them book there up?
I can't not be proud of this thing.
It's freaking gorgeous. Why wouldn't you be proud of it?
Let's see here. It's a lot of work. I believe it's the Living God's Fury.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What's that do?
So the Living God's Fury. So I think we'll actually see it in play today. Can I reveal it after, during mission briefing? Because I have like a really cool scene that I want to have Zora do, maybe, and then the soldiers will see what it actually does.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
You're forcing my hand here.
I'm not. Zora's gonna do a thing to demonstrate her ability for her clocks and stuff. It's up to you.
Is this regardless of whether or not I spend religious supplies? Because we're out of them.
It is the rule that requires religious supplies. But I'll tell you what, if you spend Black Shot, she'll still do a cool thing. It's fine.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I can get religious supplies, but it's a long-term project to create them. So
I mean, it's only a 4 o'clock.
It's only a 4 o'clock. Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
We might. Okay. We'll get to that when it comes to that.
Yep.
If I don't need to recruit, then I'm actually I have an extra supply free that I didn't think I would. So that's maybe a possibility.
Well, I guess it depends on how you define need to recruit.
All right. So we have told our story. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We should play out our Becky camp scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then
all right, I have more to do.
We'll get cooking. All on you.
So much work.
This is literally Jen's job every time.
She's so good at this, and I just. Oh.
She is really good at it.
All right. Cool. I think it'd be really cool to do. This is like. Is this happening in Talgon?
Yeah, it's on the edge of Talgon.
Or like maybe sort of in that area.
Yeah, it can even actually these campaign actions and everything else is happening at Harog, more than likely. But if you need us to move a little bit, that's fine. You just let us know, Lord Keeper, and we'll work with you.
Well, I like the idea of so there's one that's a band of refugees stumbles upon your camp and begs for help, and I like that this idea that there might be people who are like escaping from the west, from Duresh Forest. Who have moved to the inner sanctum of the forest and are totally unprepared for dealing with the megafauna, let alone the roaming undead that happen to also be there, and then just sort of stumbling upon our camp and being like, "Oh God, you're human! Please take us in," and us having to like more or less say one way or the other what we're going to do about that. Yeah. So someone needs to receive them. So because they're gonna present themselves to somebody and they're gonna get passed off to somebody who will actually make a decision.
Right.
But I think
who's really going to the camp? Is this happening during the missions?
Oh yeah, that could be like
because if it's during the missions, the Ember Wolves and the Ghost Owls are away. So it would be someone in Shattered Lions really is the only squad left defending the camp.
Wow. It's just down to 5 people defending the camp.
Well, there's no other full squads.
Right, yeah.
I mean, let's be frank. It's 5 people and a chosen.
Yeah, that's true.
You get that whistle, and then this woman just looks over, and her hair starts going up and igniting, and it's like, yeah, okay, you know, not gonna mess with that.
Excellent. So, yeah. Do we know anything about the Shattered Lions? Is that what?
The Shattered Lions have been around for a while. There's actually not a lot of contention with them. They're
they teamed up with the Grinning Ravens, and we had the Shattered Ravens, or the Grinning Lions. We weren't really sure.
Who are the two that were in that merged squad?
Linka, Tonya, and Coral Drifting Reef.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I guess those are the 2 that I would choose from. And then maybe I could have both of you play those, and have Strash pick up the penitent petitioners.
Okay. Do you want me to do anything specific with them, or do you not care what I do with them?
Well, they need to be accepted into the Legion or die. Like, they don't have a solution, right? They're escaping. Well, I mean, they could hopefully, like, they could
try and
survive.
live here. Yeah.
Right.
I have an idea. I think these people show up, and it's a bedraggled band. John, who are you playing?
Oh, do I have to play somebody?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
okay.
You don't have to. Do you want to just sit here and observe?
I mean, as much as this is like my favorite thing to do as a lore keeper is to make you guys dance for my entertainment.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's how it works. Mm-hmm. All right, so you folks are on watch, and I think that there is a moment when this bedraggled group approaches camp, right? And it looks like they tried moving through Talgon Forest without a chosen to wave off, 14 foot at the shoulder wolves. So it looks like some of them are badly wounded. At least a couple of them have like bandages all around their hands. A couple of them have like scars that look like they're made out of some horrific burn. And a couple just have like, bites that are still bleeding through the cloaks and stuff that they've turned into like makeshift compresses and stuff like that. So they don't look great, is the moral of the story. But when they come, a couple of them seem afraid, and a couple of them just decide to cast everything to the winds and throw themselves upon your mercy. So they come to you, wrapped up in these bandages. Their hand, like a couple of them have hands that are wholly covered, and like they even have like bandages around their necks and stuff like that. They have like these tattered clothes, and they're carrying the majority of their goods on their backs. And they come to you, and they beg you to let them travel with your chosen. They don't seem to care about the Legion as much, but they're saying, but what they ask is they say like, look, right now we're wounded, but we're hunters. We will make our own way. We will struggle very hard not to be a burden. We just want to travel with your chosen. What do you folks want to do?
John, who's playing who?
Do you guys have a preference? One of you should play Linka, and one of you should play Coral Drifting.
I'll do Coral.
Okay.
Okay, I'll play Linka. I think Linka is looking at her fingernails and looking up her dirty fingernails and looking up at these people and looking back at the Legion and taking stock of how well things are held together. And she's like, here has actually been pretty free of undead, and we're going right in to fight more of them. We're not taking the safer path, like at all.
I think there's a couple of them that look at each other, particularly the ones that seem more bandaged up, and some of them shake their heads and they say, they just, a couple of them ask again. They reiterate their words like, "Please, just let us see the Chosen. Like, we want to travel with the Chosen." And a couple of them are like, they say, "You haven't seen what Blighter did to the plains." And like Duresh is you have no idea what she's doing now. Like they're like, "Please, like, let us go with you. We cannot stay here."
Hold on. You know information?
Yes, we can trade information. Let's trade information.
Trade's not a smart word to say around here, but if we share information with the commander, perhaps she would be inclined to share with you as well.
I mean, yeah. Many of them seem very eager. A couple of them seem like a little worried, But yeah.
And to be clear, Lenka isn't trying to rip them off or like be duplicitous. She's just saying like, let's not make this too transactional, because that can go wrong. If you start demanding things of the command staff, they tend to bark back at you. The command staff don't like being told what to give, but like, but she's thinking this will get them in good with the commanders.
Okay.
But she looks at Coral Drifting Reef like, what do you think?
Truthfully, knowing the Marshal, if they want to travel with us, they might end up. I mean, they're hunters, which means they're good with guns, right? She like looks at them.
There's a couple of them that like look at each other, and at least like one of them's like, yeah, we're good with guns, but like you get the sense that they're, well, I don't know, maybe that's what they say. If you can make a roll, I guess, or we can do a fortune roll, see how you feel about this.
She's already like, oh wait, never mind. Yeah, no, that doesn't inspire confidence.
It really doesn't. The why is interesting, but like I'm not gonna like try and make you guess. No, they definitely, your soldier's instinct, like you clock them, right? And you're like, do you look like somebody that knows how to like flip a rifle like over and just like take something out of 300 yards? Like they're not steady, they're rattled. Like they have none of that like agility of motion and hand to eye that you're used to, and like people that can like pull off like crack shots,
Got it.
So yeah, you look at them, and when they say it, you definitely know that they're not telling the truth. But
she like leans over to Linka. Whatever intel we get from them, we should probably take with a grain of salt.
But if they know what Blighter's been up to, I mean, we are literally in the dark about that.
True.
You're right. Who knows?
We should take them to the commander. It's up to her to decide.
Yeah, I like that. I like that plan.
This is like so far above our pay grade.
Awesome. So do you tell some of them to wait here? Do you give some of them food? Or do you just march the whole group over? What do you plan to do?
I mean, if it's a small enough group that we can like set the majority of them at a mess table and give them some food and like march a couple, 1, 2 that look like they're the leaders.
Like the ones that have been speaking up.
Yeah. To the commander. Yeah. I don't think we want to overwhelm the commander with it.
It doesn't seem like the leaders are the ones that are speaking up. It seems like some of them are more desperate than others, and those are the ones speaking up.
Oh.
But it's up to you who you take and how.
Gotcha.
I don't think we want the desperate people. I think we want like,
somebody who actually.
Let me look at what Lenka is good at. Is she good at sizing people up? Consort, scout, maneuver, shoot. Not really. I think she is loyal and stubborn. Yeah, I think she probably is gonna. I don't think she's gonna have the ability to really like discern. but she traveled in a traveling carnival. Hold on a second. Hold on. This changed.
She has a backstory. This is amazing.
I mean, it says her heritage, traveling carnival. That's
No, that's amazing.
That's what's
I'm
her-
really entertained by this.
because and she
I don't think she's ever been on screen, but this is like so great.
no, and she used to have just a kid, but she lost it when she promoted a soldier. So so she's young. But I think she's seen, like, you know, when you
Okay.
you get this motley group of people.
Yeah.
And
Do you have some consort?
no, yeah, she has some consort.
Okay, so let's do a consort fortune roll, and I'll give you +1d for your backstory.
Yeah.
Because this is a fortune roll, so we talk about modifiers. You've seen people from all walks of life. You've seen some really strange scenarios in different places. You've seen like people that are trying to scam you, people that are trying to help you. You've seen a lot of stuff. So I'm going to give you +1d because I'm going to say that's going to influence the situation.
Yeah, cool. And the intent of this is to figure out who's going to speak the most intelligently, who's going to speak the best.
It's like a gather information check. Like
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
reading the group and you're picking out some people. Yeah, why not?
All
Hey,
right.
fives. You get
Fives, yeah.
good info, but not exceptional. You definitely pick out who the leaders are, and you definitely pick out who the desperate people are. I think your gut also tells you that something's off about this group, but you're not 100% sure what. They seem the wrong mixture of quiet. They seem to be looking at each other, and that desperation feels off. Something's not quite right. Your gut isn't super happy, but there's no like concrete moment where you're like, oh, it's this one thing, right?
Right. They're planning something, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I think, or at least I think that's how Lenka assumes it, right? Like, she's also a soldier, right? So she
It
turns.
just smells off. You're not sure that they're equipped enough to be conniving or threatening. Like this group couldn't do a lot of damage here, but there's something off about them. The same way that you're like welcomed and embraced by the like people of Barrack Mines. They've really opened their hearts to you. You know, you've helped them out. They're collaborating with you. Even some of the it's a lot. It's a bit more like the people from the bandit camp, right? Like most of them are now like allied with you, and the relationship is getting pretty good. But there are still a couple of them that are maybe not like 100% on your side.
Yeah.
They're still kind of looking out for number one or whatever. And these people don't look like they're trying to play a scam. It's just something's off.
Yeah. So she's gonna look to Coral and be like, "You want to take like?" I think if, after identifying the leaders, she looks to Coral and is like, "Do you want to take these two to the commander, or you want to watch over the rest of them? One of us should do, but we should split up. I don't want to leave these people unattended."
I'll keep an eye on them.
Cool. So I think Lenka and some of the leaders wander off. Coral, you're watching this group. They're eating food. They actually don't seem quite as hungry as like, you know, people that have been starving for weeks. Like they are, as they said, hunters. Like they've done some foraging and stuff in the forest, though not much because again, 14-foot wolves, megafauna. So yeah, you're watching them and everything, and then you just realize you're warm, and then you realize Zora's standing right there, and she's softly burning, and she just looks at you and looks at the people. And then looks at you, and then looks at the people, and she just sort of shakes her head a little bit.
Something wrong, milady?
I think all she says is they've been touched.
By Blighter?
Mm-hmm.
So we should quarantine them?
She actually looks at you and just says, "What would you do?"
Is there a way to cure them?
I would point out that she has the eat corruption.
Yeah, actually,
move.
she kind of looks at you and says, "Maybe it might kill them."
If they want to be healed of their corruption, I think that choice should be theirs.
perhaps you should ask them.
They did want to travel with our chosen.
I think she just leans in and very softly says, only my father chooses, I do not.
Oh, that's very creepy and all.
Since when is Papa involved here? When has the living God ever said anything? Is living God available? Never mind, I'm not there. My snark is not well placed.
Coral kind of like gets the willies, but turns around.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah. Turns back to the table. Zora, meet our new friends. Meet Zora.
I think there's a moment where like a couple of them, particularly like the badly bandaged ones, like run to her and they like, start to fall on their knees. And she just looks at them with this like, but like you get the sense that she's not worried about their like plague or like any damage that they have or whatever. And she's just like, I think all she says like to their pleas is, I only stand with warriors. And yeah, so like, yeah, she's so yeah, I think there's probably a moment where at least like one of them stands up and they're begging her to help them, and she just looks at them and she says, can you withstand my aid? It's this lady, right? Like she takes off her bandages. You see that like her hands are like clawed. There's like burn marks with like stuff that's like moving in it. It's all super gross. Special effects budget, very good. But yeah, there's like a moment where Zora just like places her hand on it and like looks this woman like in the eyes from like 3 inches away because she's like taller than her, and just says like, are you ready? And that's like when her hands light on fire and she screams for like a good minute and a half. The rest of them think about their life choices, but when she lets go, the claws are gone. So yeah.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, okay, that's a thing. Okay, Did the women stop screaming?
Yeah. Well, actually, like, yeah, kind of partway through her like voice blows out. It's not pleasant to watch. There's a lot of people in camp who are like, what the? You see a bunch of like the remaining legionnaires like show up with weapons, right? Like they're like, are we under? Oh no, Zora's doing creepy things. So like, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. We're cool.
Yeah, and I think that there's just like a moment where like this woman's like looking at her hands in wonder, and she tries to say thank you, but like she can't like properly. But like Zora gets it, she's like, she just looks at her like, yeah, that's the thing I did. And then she looks at the rest of them, and a couple of them step back, but at least like 1 or 2 others are willing to do it. So I don't know. Maybe we call scene here. Does that feel good for everybody?
It feels good. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's do
Campaign phase.
Yeah. Oh, no. Time passes. So pressure takes up by 1 and time takes up by 1.
Yes.
So I'll take care of the time. Click.
I think I reduced food last time. Is food also go down by 1 during time passes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So I reduced it last time by 1 because time passed then. Yeah.
And then we should that should be that, I think. Campaign actions.
Yeah. All right, Marshall. What is our morale?
According to the notes that I was left.
I think I know what it is, if you're not sure. All right.
The notes that I was left say 8. So
Yes, perfect, excellent. All right. So with 8, we're at high morale. That means we have two. We have two campaign actions. The first one is going to be Liberty. I've applied it to everybody. I've cleared everyone's stress. I'm ahead of the game today. And I went ahead and used Contessa Victoria's to use her noble trait, and as well as Flavia used her noble trait to boost Liberty for them. The second one is Rest and Recuperation. A bunch of people were hurt, but they all had one. They were all 1 tick away, except for Cobalt Raging Blaze, who had 2 ticks. And so Mercy Albin, Viscount Albin the Mask is going to tend to Cobalt Raging Blaze, and I'm going to mark him as wounded now. And that leaves everybody fully healed and, for the most part, pretty low on stress. A couple people have 1 or 2 ticks of stress.
Cool.
But that's pretty good. I now have, I'm now going to spend a supply on a long-term action, on a long-term clock rather. Spend a supply to take a long-term project action. That's what I meant to say. And I'm going to go get, I'm going to send Rhea to keep, actually, before I do that, I'm definitely spending the supply for a long-term project, but Josh, what would the clock be? Because I love making more clocks to train the people from the bandit camp to be legionnaires, to get to turn them into a batch of rookies. Because they joined us a while back, but they've never.
I feel like they've already been working on that with you folks, and you set up a good fictional positional narrative where that's plausible. So I'm not going to make the clock too long. I feel like a 4 o'clock is probably fine for at least a batch.
Cool, excellent. So let's put 1 more clock on the table, and so everybody, I am 2 ticks away from having siege weapons, which we might need if we have to take Fort Callisto. I am 4 ticks away from having religious supplies. I am 4 ticks away from having 4 more soldiers, and I'm 3 ticks away from having 1 more laborer that would help us with all of these projects.
Okay, when you say 4 more soldiers, do you mean 4 more recruits or
Sorry,
4 more
5 more rookies is what.
Okay.
Yes.
Those are 2 very different things.
Yes.
Don't get my hopes up like that.
I'm not inclined to recruit because we only have 1 mission. We only have 1. We don't need them right now. So I'm inclined to work on the laborers and the siege weapon and maybe the religious. Josh, you said I could trade out Blackshot this time. So I think I'm going to do that if I can.
Okay.
So yeah, let's work on those laborers. Depending on how well this role works, we might get more things done. So John, since you're the lore master and that's Jen's role, and Jen normally plays Rhea, I'm going to give you Rhea and ask you how you're going to go. Quartermaster loves tormenting the medic because she's never busy enough. We've just healed like 4 people, and when she's come out of the mess tent stitching, Cobalt Raging Blaze back together, he's like, I'm glad to see that your work is done.
Oh no.
But of course your work is never done. Those people still don't know how to carry, they know how to carry lumber, they know how to chop wood, but they still don't know where to place it, how to stack it. They've come with us from Linesburg and they're still learning the ropes. I need you to instill them with a bit more discipline.
I think there's a moment with Rhea where there's like clear that she almost wants to say something.
Yeah.
She's like,
oh yeah, say something. Say something, Quartermaster.
So I guess the question is, does it seem dangerous to say something?
No, I don't think Quartermaster's ever Quartermaster has people give him guff all the time. He's not like you're gonna be in the stocks. He might not listen, but he's not a dangerous person to talk to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I think she probably says like, did I do something wrong?
No, if you did something wrong, I wouldn't ask you to If you weren't competent, I wouldn't ask you to do the work.
So, so you're saying I do things right too often.
You do things right just often enough. Actually, not quite often enough because you're not doing the thing I want you to do right now. You're just shy of being often enough at doing things right, medic.
Yes, sir.
But yes, this is clearly the case of when you want something done, look for the people who are super busy. They're the ones who get things done.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think she'll just like suck it up. Just clearly like push her
He's like,
feelings.
yeah. Bury your feelings. Absolutely. That is the quartermaster's way of saying.
It's very Zimyati.
Yeah, he's like, but I think he sees, maybe you look tired, distressed, whatnot.
Right, because
And
like I think the last couple times you did extra campaign actions, you were like,
Yeah.
Rhea, Rhea.
Yeah, I did.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
Rhea.
Do it again.
I
Yeah.
think she's just like physically tired and just like, what did I do?
Right. You did a good job.
Apparently.
He's like, hold on a second. You seem weary. And he holds out a radish. He's like, take a bite. It'll give you some pep because they're spicy.
I think she
That's
puts
wrong,
it-
right?
Like she puts the radish in her mouth and like walks off.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
So and her job is to teach them how to like some discipline is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hinting at the action I'm hoping you'll roll, but it's your choice.
I mean, it feels like discipline to me.
That's what she did last time.
But she could just be like, that's not how I do things. And you could roll
Yeah.
something else. I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, but and we're doing this to who?
The Linesburg laborers.
Oh, I see.
Last time you disciplined them and it worked great.
Yeah.
But you could consort with them. I mean, Rhea's good at lots of things. That's why the quartermaster.
Medics are dope, yo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to train a soldier up to be a
About
medic
discipline.
now.
I think this is it's been working before. This is the Legion. You just go out to those laborers and you tell them, do your job. Here's
Yeah.
how you do your job.
I kind of want all the people that came, all these people who like just showed up, all these refugees to see this as well. Like because last time you disciplined them, the
Hmm.
quartermaster is like, do that now while everyone else can see.
Right. Okay, cool. So I just click this, huh?
Yeah, click discipline. You can say whatever position effect, doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
it's a fortune roll.
We'll do standard. And it's no bonus dice.
No.
Meh.
Cool.
Maybe it's less effective than the last time, but it's not effective.
All I needed. All right. So I'm gonna bump that up to 5 ticks. Now we have 2 laborers and a hammer of Matiar. So our normal laborers, not the Orite smiths, are going to help Rhea out and finish this clock off.
Cool.
Nice.
So now we
Fold them
have
into the team.
what's that?
Fold them into the team.
Fold them into the team. Yes. So now we have one. So now we have one more laborer, which are the Linesburg laborers.
I want you to know that it always entertains me that the quartermaster leaves behind them finished clocks the same way that the Legion leaves behind battlefields.
A mess.
Covered in red.
Covered in
God,
red.
sorry.
Yeah. No, that's great.
You have
So
broken clocks.
what that means, and I believe I asked you about this last time, Josh. Now that I have these laborers, I can use them this campaign action.
That is correct.
Cool. So I still
you get to
have.
decide the order of actions and the fact that you generated them. Yeah, you can totally
Yeah.
go.
So I still have 2 laborers left because of the Orite mechanics and the Linesbergs that we have.
Yep.
And I have 1 tick from the Hammer of Matiar.
Got it.
So the Hammer of Matiar is going to work on the siege weapon.
Got
as
it.
Is the Orite mechanics who have been doing at
Got it.
first. So that's going to finish off the siege weapon
Mm-hmm.
and get that up to 2. And then our brand new laborers who just got trained up. Oops, I rolled it, but cool. It rolled perfect. Our brand new laborers who just got trained have been carrying around a cart with a dead chosen in it. And we're going to tell them.
Cut it up.
Osingara, was that her name?
Oizingra, yeah.
Ozingra? You see that chosen in there? You need to turn her into some religious supplies. So
That's
now
the
that
plan.
you've been trained,
Wow.
Fuck.
get
Remember where
ye
you stacked the firewood?
right now. Now that you're fully trained, get ye to making those religious supplies.
Yep. So I have this feeling that they're just like, what? And it's just like stacking firewood. You cut off the part, you put in the oil, you cap it.
Don't think too much about it. And then I have one tick
Just like
left.
a cow. It's just like a cow.
I have
Yeah,
one
right?
tick left on my fuel conversion.
But that's got to be done by alchemists. That cannot be done by laborers.
Right, but I have 3 alchemists.
Well, all right. Do you want to roll some dice?
So yeah, I have 1 alchemist / mercy, but she didn't need to mercy this time, so she's alchemisting.
Alchemist it up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll.
Get all alchemisty.
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't matter what I roll on this, honestly, because I only need 1 tick. But fuel conversion. 3 dice. All right. So
Sweet.
that's 2 ticks, which will finish that clock. So we now have fully functioning steam engines. Just
Yep.
saying. And then I have to roll for corruption.
Yep.
And we'll do the same thing.
3 dice. If you roll a 1 to 3, you get 3 corruption. 4 to 5, 2, 6, 1.
Ugh, 3 corruption.
3 corruption. Spread it as you will.
Was that modified based off of the how dangerous things were? Last time I think you mentioned.
Yeah. This time you're working with some semi-dangerous stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Right.
you're in the final stages. There's a
I'm
lot.
in the final stages. It's ugly. All right, we're gonna spread that corruption out across the board. Alchemist singing Twilight giants, and immediately we're like, okay, now you will be corrupted by us. All right,
Just a little bit. It's like 1 out of 8. It's like barely
It's
noticeable.
just a teeny bit.
1 of 8.
Yeah.
So mine Alchemist Ruben is up to 3. Landgrave Aurora Rodano is up to 2, and Singing Twilight is up to 1. I guess I could even that out more.
You could, but you
I
don't
will.
have to. As John knows, the alchemist that's been with us the longest, I just keep putting all the corruption on him in our home game.
Yeah.
You will not make it to Skydagger.
Who knows? Yeah, that's fine. I get to decide where the corruption gets allocated. So, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to even it out because Singing Twilight might in a future day not be partaking in this. She might be doing mercy work. So I'm going to give her the corruption now while I can. Because that's a lovely thing. Gift. Thanks for joining the Legion. Have some corruption. Nice. So that's all of my actions.
Cool.
And I spent the supply. We are ready to
Advance.
advance. Oh, and Marshal morale is up to 10 because I did Liberty.
All right, John. Well, actually, I know for a fact that one of those pressures goes away because Zora is Start of the Dawn. So do you want to spend a horse to knock off the other pressure, or you can roll 1 die?
Is it at 2 pressure?
Yep. Start the clock.
Question, Strash.
Yes.
I think there's a
Oh
special
wait, there's
rule
a
of
special
pressure.
Tell God. Oh, you get minus pressure because there's no there's no broken chasing you. You're right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to use my steam engines, but I don't think.
No, I think you're 100% right here. For close go. Here's top. Oh, East Lake, West Lake, Best Lake.
4 or 4.
Here we go. When advancing, you roll pressure minus 2d, so it's 0 pressure. You're Gucci. All right, I'm gonna reset your pressure clock because you're advancing 0. Pop.
Okay. So do we need a roll, right?
If you open a sheet, any sheet, there
Yeah.
is roll fortune just under the skills.
Ah, okay.
Just click on that. Type in advancing or something if you feel like it.
Yeah,
And then
okay, it's 0 dice, right?
yep. Worst of 2. Hey, you get 1 tick.
Nice.
And you're good. All right.
Time clock's, still got 6 ticks left on it before Cinder King overpowers us, and
It's fine. It's fine.
So I have a question. So I think I'm going to describe the scene that meets you, right? So if in the TV show that is this series, we see the Legion we see some scouts and a couple of people in like sort of camouflagey colors, Legion camouflage, which is actually kind of like patchy, made with actual leaf patterns instead of the more digital camo that you see in the modern era. And they're sort of sitting in this like dappled sunlight coming through the leaves at the edges of the forest, and they look out, and there's this terrifying sight, right? Like when the shot first is like where the Legion is, you can actually see the sun, but when it rotates, you realize that there's no visible sky around Fort Callisto, and the reason for that is there is more undead than you've ever seen in one place. The majority of Blighter's control is all here, but moreover, this is the part that's really disturbing. There's massive sections of the battlefield that are covered in this kind of greenish fog. And let's just say that when the fog occasionally does swirl with, movement of the wind or whatever, you'll see that even the grass and like plants are dying underneath it. And past it are the walls of Fort Callisto. And you can see some like burn marks and other stuff like that on them, but you get the sense that, the undead were like, huzzah, we're just going to wreck the walls. And whoever was inside it was like, nope. That's sort of the situation that you're observing. Things that you need to know. It's a pretty big fort. It's like a small city inside it. There's probably plenty of people / stuff to trade there. It is probably your last resupply point before Skydagger Keep. When I say probably, I mean it's your last resupply point before Skydagger Keep.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you really need is there. The only way, the special rule for Fort Callisto is actually that you have to do a special mission before you can get in. So the special mission, which Sean, did you set up the
Yeah.
Rad.
I'll put it out. There it is.
So yeah, if you take a look at the missions, you'll realize that there's only one mission this time. And that's because there's a special mission that you have to do. Now, there's some cool stuff here. So like speaking from a design perspective, we didn't want to penalize people for having to do this mission or not knowing that it's there. So if you manage to break this siege, if you manage to get the Legion inside the fort, you're going to get -1 time, pressure does not advance, and you're going to get some morale. Why is this good? Because it effectively means you get like no penalty for entering. Like time's not going to advance, you're not going to get extra pressure, you're not going to like be losing anything. But the downside is if you do not break past the siege and get through this area, you can't continue on your path to Skydagger, right? Like this is kind of protecting the base of the mountains. All of the accessible routes are straight through the enemy army, and it's kind of a thing you got to do. So that's the downside. The upshot being, this is a it's kind of a freebie. You get some morale. It's gonna be fun.
This is gonna be great. Yeah. You just described like an apocalypse that we're walking into, and you're like, it's a freebie apocalypse, though.
I mean, yeah, like you have to go through an army of several thousand undead. There's like dozens of horrors. You're like, oh, is that all? We just have to take care of that, no problem. But I have to tell you that I think the Legion's gonna come up with a plan. So maybe we take a break, and then we see what the Legion's secret/brilliant plan is
Sure.
is gonna be
Do we want to ask intel questions before coming with it?
I'm gonna
We'll do that.
let's do that after. Let's find out how you break a moat made of toxic chemicals and thousands of undead, because that is a simple puzzle. After the break.
Yeah.
So.
See you all soon.